that gets difficult at time, but again, that's what my job is, to make sure that we're handling our customers and their needs on a daily basis and making sure that nothing slips through the cracks. Now, nobody's...
Welcome to Driven by Janelle, the podcast where passion meets power and women take the lead on two wheels. Your host, attorney Janelle Bailey, is a biker, a boss, and your bold guide into a world where horsepower merges with feminine fire. Here we'll explore bike culture, highlighting the latest rides and gear, breaking down legal updates you need to know, sharpening your riding techniques, and sharing lessons straight from the asphalt, all while turning up the volume on the voices of fearless women who dominate the road. This is more than dark shades and worn leather. It's about celebrating fierce women, unforgettable adventures, and the raw freedom that comes when we own our ride and our story. This is Driven by Janelle. What drives you to ride?
Today on Driven by Janelle, we're excited to sit down with Brian Burgett,
Hello.
General Manager at Jet City Harley-Davidson in Renton, which is where we're filming from, so thank you for that.
Of course, my pleasure.
Yes. With deep-rooted love for riding and a clear passion for building community, Brian has helped transform Jet City into more than just a dealership. It's a place where riders connect, grow, and feel at home. Whether you're buying your first bike or coming in for your 10th, Brian and his team have made Jet City a go-to spot in the Northwest riding scene. Let's dive into his riding story, his leadership journey, and the vision behind Jet City's success.
Absolutely, I love that.
So thanks so much for coming on. So first, I just want to start with your story. Like, what led you to the world of Harley-Davidson?
To Harley-Davidson, well, that's deeply rooted in my family. So my father is a Vietnam era vet. My grandfather's World War II era vet. So the Harley-Davidson culture kind of went down through the family. So my parents were raised in the Bay Area, the San Francisco Bay Area, which, you know, in the late 60s, early 70s was kind of hotbed for our culture and what we do. So they were very involved in that. My father actually went to the dirt bike. He was more into the dirt bike thing, and we moved to San Diego. So I did a lot of dirt biking as a kid, desert racing, Glamis, Ocotillo Wells, you know, Canyon, all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, I was in an accident where I had a cerebral contusion. I was in a coma for my 16th birthday.
Oh my gosh.
So my parents took the bikes away from me, actually my mom. But on my 20th birthday, I believe it was my 20th birthday, my uncle gave me a hand-me-down Sportster, and I've pretty much been on Harleys ever since.
You got back on a bike after a coma.
That's what we do. Yeah,
Yes,
it's not a passion you can ignore. The people who are watching this who understand, they understand, you know. Breeze on the knees and the wind in the face, it's just, it has to happen.
And were you nervous getting back on the bike, or were you just excited?
I'm still nervous, to be honest. After you've been hurt, you know, I think that gives you a different level of awareness. I think that I'm hyper-focused on safety just as much as fun, you know, and I think that it's made me a better rider and I'm more aware of what my skill sets are rather than trying to figure that out as we go.
Focusing on skill maybe up front more than afterwards.
Absolutely. You know, I just don't believe in pushing myself to that level anymore. I mean, I'm an older guy now, and I just like to be seen, have fun, and hang out with the community.
And I mean, there's never a good time to be in an accident, but you did it so young. I feel like it would have shaped the rest of your motorcycling experience, maybe.
You know, I think that my family taking that away, or my mother taking that away and not wanting me on the bike, which is completely understandable. I'd have done the same thing with my children. I think that gave me some resentment because, as my wife will tell anybody who is asking, I always say, I have a passion, and she says, no, you have an addiction. You know, very different, I guess. You know, from her perspective. But I would say that there is a lot of truth in that because, from my perspective, it wasn't when I was going to get back on a bike, or if I was going to get on a bike, it was when. And I knew that there was only a certain amount of authority that, you know, my parents had over me, and that I was going to be able to return to riding and do what I love to do.
Yeah. Well, I just admire your dedication. I don't know, passion, obsession.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, because I just think it's always good to just have this, you know, it gives you life, right? To have those things you enjoy.
Absolutely, you know, and I think that I don't know what we do as far as, you know, the community and going out and riding. It encompasses so much more than jumping on a motorcycle and taking a ride. You know, the community is so strong, so caring, so willing to step into other realms for support. You know, from fundraising to all the above. It's just it's a wonderful community, and I'm so happy to be involved in it. And you know, what my next goal is to helping it grow.
Yeah, yeah. That kind of just brings me to my next question of like, what does the motorcycle community mean to you, and how has it evolved for you over the years?
Well, I think that, you know, it's. I think I have or I would like to believe that I have a different viewpoint with, you know, coming into the motorcycle industry with having the background of a rider. I think that what's important to me is not the retail aspects of the business. What's important to me are the community aspects of the business. You know, in Southern California, Northern California, the shops are just a big deal. And I'm not saying that they're not here, that anybody's done a bad job. That's not me. That's not my judgment. But what I will say is we have 3.5 million people in this metropolis. I feel like we should have a stronger, more, I don't know, well-defined community that all of us can enjoy, rather than having this parceled and partitioned community that seems to happen right now. You know, I think that there's plenty of room for everybody, you know, whether they be clubs or hogs or new riders or whatever, and our community on a whole is accepting of all the above. So, you know, I think that, to go back to your original question, retailing motorcycles is a byproduct of growing the community. Trying to retail the motorcycles without building community, without understanding my customer, without giving back, I think is a pipe dream, and actually pretty arrogant. You know, I want to give to my community first, and then reap the benefits of our involvement.
Yeah, that's very admirable.
Well, thank you.
And very genuine too.
Well, I think that in our community, again, if you're not genuine, they'll see right through you. You know, the one thing that we all know is it's okay to be whoever you are. It's not okay to act like you're something that you're not. You know, and I think that you know, you keep that in mind, and you look to servicing the community, not even the customer, the community, always servicing the community, and we're going to be fine, and we're going to win.
I always preach at my law firm, you know, I'm a lawyer, law firm, but it's like, we're actually customer service first, and then, you know, what we're, you know, selling or what we're doing is the law, but first is just the customer. Like, we are a customer service industry, not a law firm, a customer service industry. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, and I think we just lead with that, then, you know.
Well, we have a lot of customers here, and all Harley stores do, that just hang out. You know, they come here and hang out, and those are the people I want to grow. That, you know, to me, what does success look like? Success looks like I have 100 bikes when I come to work in the morning, parked out front, and they're hanging out, having a good time, whether they're looking to buy a motorcycle from me or not on that particular day. Because again, it's all going to come out in the wash if we are the hub and we are the center. You know, and again, people are always going to respond on, you know, what you do for them. And if you're constantly taking, which retail on a whole does that a lot, you know, I think it's short-sighted.
Yeah, it's definitely better to be giving.
Absolutely.
Get more back. So, and not because you get more back, because you enjoy it.
Well, I quite honestly, that's the key. I could sit here and I could tell you, you know, that's what feeds my family, and there's a certain amount of truth in all of that. But the truth of the matter is, this is what makes me feel good. That's where I get my reward. I get my reward off of, you know, going into a grocery store and having somebody come up and give me a hug, you know, in front of my family. You know, that makes me feel good, and that's what I'm trying to accomplish.
It's building that community. Well, it kind of brings me, you're just going to my next question, it's just automatically.
It's almost like it was scripted, huh? Nobody's going to believe this. We're just getting along so well.
That's so great. Well, that's why you're hosting us. And that's why I will say, I just, you know, because I walked into, you know, other dealerships, and I like all of them. And for me, the motorcycle community has been like very welcoming just as a whole. But, you know, I think just the reception we've had here at Jet City has just been so amazing and so like easy and seamless. And you just don't get that everywhere. And for me, you know, being a woman motorcyclist, it can be daunting. So I really appreciate it. My team really appreciate it. We're all women. Almost everyone at my firm is a woman. So it's just really, it's been an interesting and great experience with you guys. So,
well, I thank you for that, and it means a lot to me. I've got, between mine, hers, and ours, I've got 9 children. 6 of them are girls.
Yeah.
So that's important to me. We have a lot of female fit specialists, and I really embrace their growth. Talking about female riders in the culture, because that's probably the largest growing area of our culture. So I definitely want to feed that, and let all the women out there that want to get on Harley-Davidsons, we're here for you.
Yeah. I appreciate it. I mean, I think I learned from another rider. I didn't realize that at some point women just weren't allowed to ride.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, this is crazy. So to be supporting women riders, I mean, it's, not that you're rebellious, but it really is. It's a monumental thing, because at some point we weren't allowed to ride. So that's just, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So,
So we feel good about it. Thank you.
Yeah. So just, you're the general manager of Jet City. How'd you do that? Like, what was your journey to being general manager?
Well, half the people that are watching this podcast aren't going to like this, but the truth is the truth. Okay, so I spent my life riding motorcycles and working in the car business. So that gave me my background. I've worked in all the major markets: Arizona, in the Texas Gulf State market, and then of course in Southern California. So I think that I have a real wide knowledge and understanding of the business. What we do here is very different and very much the same, all at the same time. So like the structuring of the deals and the building of the organization, there's a lot in common there. The difference is the interaction with the customers, like we talked about before. So I answered an ad. I was fed up with moving all over. At a certain point, when you climb the ladder of success, then you have to go to the job rather than the job's coming to you. There's only so many general managers' jobs, so if you're looking for one, then you got to go to a different market a lot of times. I was more in control of my destiny with Harley. I was looking for a change in my life. I was looking for a softer sell. I was looking for more home life balance with my family. I've got an 8-year-old at home, and like I said, I've got 8 other children that are grown. So to see them, grow up so quickly and have regrets, so the Harley dealership, TMC on a whole, the way that they support us as managers and the way that they support my team, it was just a no-brainer for me. Everything just aligned perfectly. It was 2 things that I'm passionate and good at, and in a place that is very like the place that I grew up. So it just aligned for me. Sometimes things just happen, and this is one of those.
It's like meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's cool if you just answered an ad.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just showing up. A lot of the times, just showing up. I guess what do you like most about your team here? What do you find is like a really valuable thing about your team here versus maybe other places you've been at, or something unique?
I don't want to sound cliche, but I want to give them credit where credit's due. The relationship that they have with each other, the way that they trust each other, the way that they work with each other, the way that they put the customer first, and they're not concerned about like who's on the deal, or that was my deal when this, or that's not my deal when a customer needs help. Everybody's so willing to help and so willing to jump in to be that difference maker. That's definitely something new. The guardianship on every level of who we are, what our reputation is. I don't want to go too much into this, but when I got here, we did have a lot of reputation problems, and the things that you're saying now just really make me feel good, because that wasn't the reputation a year ago, and as much as I've been given, congratulations on that, I would say that, I just kind of led the path. The path got dug, hoed, and paved by my team, and you have to have, this, you're a leader. You have to have people that are willing to do the work. You can't just lay out a plan. The blueprint doesn't get it done. You got to have people swinging the hammers and driving the nails and all that kind of stuff. So I'm very fortunate. So my team.
Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's very true. I think, I tell people I've never done sports or never done sports really well. But being a business owner, I feel like that's what I've had to learn is how to get people to work together, how to get people in the right spots, how to convey, what you have in your head to other people and get it executed. So it's a big thing to take on. So,
well, just what your vision is, and then being able to explain that, define that, and then drive on that on a daily basis. You have to have people that share that vision and can see that end result, and so I think that hiring like-minded people, where again, just going back to, I didn't hire anybody who the first thing that came out of their mouth was, I want to make so much money, or I wanted that wasn't on my radar. I want to service my community. I want to help people. I want to learn about motorcycles. Those are the people I went after. Yeah. And I think it's worked really well for us.
Well, I can't say I've met everyone here, but everyone I have met here has just been very nice, very welcoming. It's been, and everyone's been really warm, even without them, knowing anything. So it seems great so far.
Well, thank you. Yeah. No, I think that it's really, really coming around. We've got a lot of work to do, and as you're gaining, the one thing that you can't allow to happen is slippage in other areas, so the spinning of all the plates, that gets difficult at time, but again, that's what my job is, to make sure that we're handling our customers and their needs on a daily basis, and making sure that nothing slips through the cracks. Now, nobody's perfect, and I do my best to make up for it when something does slip through the cracks, but that's our main goal, is to make sure that nobody feels alienated, left out, or any of the above.
Well, it seems like that's what's happening.
Well, thank you.
So that's great. Kind of going to like the riding community as a whole, I guess. I know you said you grew up in Southern California, and it looks like you lived in Arizona as well. And I'm still new to the riding community. I've obviously met people in Seattle. We've met people in like Vegas and Charleston, but how does the riding community here compare to others, or what have you noticed about the riding community, like in Seattle or Renton?
This might be my position, but very welcoming. It seems like in other places that I've been, there had to be an in with that group, whoever they were, whether they were patch clubs or whether they were a social group. There had to be kind of an in. You know what I mean? It seems to me that if you show up and then people are willing to bring you in. We had a customer here, and she literally came in on an electric scooter, and she bought a motorcycle from us, had never ridden before, and now she is here every weekend. She rides everywhere she goes. She's inundated with all the riders, and they go on rides, and to see her growth, not just on the motorcycle, but socially, has been extremely rewarding, and I think that's a big success story of how we want to proceed. The people that already love riding motorcycles, they're not just going to stop. We get old and then we can't ride, or whatever the case may be, but we don't usually just lose our passion. What we need to do is we need to push more people to see how wonderful this community, this activity, and this product is.
Yeah. And I think when I was at the Seattle Hawk chapter meeting, I met some people who don't ride anymore, but they're still coming to the meetings. They're still involved in the community. So it's not always just about riding.
Yeah. No, and again, the interactions between everybody, and again, I don't want to go into the what we've done for the community, because that's not why I do it. But the relationships that you make when you're doing for the community are sticking type of relationships. It's bond building, because you've created something with other people and with your consumer base outside of the buying and selling of a good. And that really feels good for everybody.
Yeah, and you guys seem to do that through you have a lot of events here and things like that. I guess. Have you guys always had a lot of events, or how has that played a role in your community building?
No, I think that we've always done events. I think some of the events that we're doing now are more toward a broader community. I stay away from the bikini contests and the things of that nature, because I'm not that those aren't fun activities, because everybody's had a blast, but I don't want to alienate any potential member of our community. So. Some of the things that we've done in the past we're not doing, even if they've been successful. But what we're really driving to do, again, is just to have a welcoming environment. You know, I don't do bikini contests, but we do karaoke every month, you know, where we get everybody out here, and that seems to be a good time, you know, when we do Harley's After Dark, and we get a lot of participation from the group of people, you know, whether they be customers or employees, and it's a lot of fun, and you know, just those interactions. It's extremely rewarding, and it's building the community to where we want to go.
Mm-hmm. That is so funny. I didn't know you guys had karaoke night.
You got to come, girl.
We're gonna have to.
Absolutely.
Bring us into the next karaoke. Yes, so that'll be fun. So it seems like for Jet City, you guys. I mean, I'm a new writer, and I've seen a lot of seasoned writers. How do you know? I don't know if there's needs between new writers versus seasoned writers. I guess, how do you serve both? Like, just both end of the spectrum?
Well, you know what? I think that that's a really good question. Mm-hmm. And I think that sometimes when you make moves toward new writers, that sometimes you might alienate traditionalists. Mm. It's something I'm cognizant. I don't think we've had that problem. I think that everybody's extremely welcoming. But it is something that I think about, you know, before making just about every decision. You know, I this might sound greedy, but I want everybody, you know, everybody who wants to be on a motorcycle, everybody who wants to come out and hang out at a Harley store or a motorcycle store, you know, I want them to come to Jet City, you know, and the again, motorcycle sales and rankings and all that's a byproduct of how you give to your community. Mm-hmm. So first, it's my turn first, and then we'll reap the rewards of that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of new writers, so when a new writer comes through the door, I guess, how do you navigate that? Like, you know, do you kind of coach them a bit on kind of what bike to get or not get? Like, you know, maybe don't.
Absolutely, but at the same time, that's a slippery slope. What we try and do is we try to sit down and we find out what their experience is up until that point. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't have salespeople here. I have fit specialists, mm-hmm. and the reason that we call them fit specialists is because absolutely that's what they do. They're mm-hmm. supposed to come and find the right bike for you, especially when we're talking about new riders. Mm-hmm. You know. They want a Harley. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they don't realize how big and diverse our line is. Mm-hmm. And so what we try and do is, on somebody that's new, we try to get them with a senior fit specialist who knows the questions to ask, who looks into the size of the person, the riding experience, what they're wanting to do with their motorcycle, and then find the right motorcycle for them. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, it's the customer's ultimate decision. You know, if we think they should be on a Nightster and they want to buy a Road Glide, well, you know, we're going to do what they want to do.
I say I appreciate it, like, you know, with the dealership going beyond just selling, but just mm-hmm. offering other services that you don't have to offer. Yeah. But just doing it because you want to support the community and support the rider and all of that. I mean, you introduced me to Chuck. Mm-hmm. Chuck, you know, has been I only had one lesson with him so far. I meet with him next week, but he's been amazing and showing me, you know, what I'm already doing wrong, but in a preemptive manner. So I'm not getting out on the road again and, like, you know, flat facing. Mm-hmm. Now I'm learning ahead of time, okay, this is what I'm doing wrong, and learning it in a safe environment. So, like, having that connection, like, that alone is probably, you know, saved me at least some physical pain, mm-hmm. right? From mm-hmm. just being able to learn from him. Connecting with Jake, the safety director.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you know, what I love is that you have so many resources in addition to just bikes.
Yeah, and you know, when it comes to, you know, what you were talking about as far as, you know, getting this training and having access to this training, ultimately what it does is it gives you confidence, and you have to have confidence before you attain skill. Mm-hmm. If you don't have the confidence, then you're never going to attain the skill. So, you know, like you said, getting out in front of it, I think is extremely important.
Yeah, no, that's the biggest thing I've taken away from you know, being at Jet City is mm-hmm. you guys have these resources and the connections, and people are, like, willing to actually follow up on it and really help. You know, for me being a new writer, helped me become a safe rider on the road. Mm-hmm. And you guys are hosting the ASM course next week.
Yes.
With Road Guardians.
Saturday the 26th is when we're doing that.
Yeah.
The more the merrier. We'd have you to come. So.
Yeah. So, what made you want to do the safety course?
Again, just community. The same reason why I'm letting you do this. We came in, we talked a little bit about it, and what I heard you say was community. And if you're wanting to service the community, then I want to be a part of that, So I think that whether it be Jake or Chuck, yourself, I think that we're all aligned in what we're trying to do, even though we're from a little bit different perspectives.
Yeah.
And together we can build something great.
Yeah. For safety just itself, because you had an experience, being in a coma. Mm-hmm. So I imagine that's played a role. If you see people coming after an accident, how does safety play a role in Jet City? You guys are hosting the course, but just, do you guys talk to people or?
Okay, this is going to get real. So my motivation is this. Unfortunately, one of the things that we have to deal with on an annual basis is riders go down, whether they be employees, parents of employees, customers, and sometimes they die. And that takes a real emotional toll on us, especially when we're attacking, for lack of a better term, the business the way that we are. We want to be involved. We don't want people to be numbers. We want people to be people. We want to share experiences. We want to hear you out and put you on the right bike. All that comes with a certain amount of emotional trauma when bad things happen. We're actually involved with our customers. So to go back, that's my motivation. My motivation is that I want to know that if somebody goes down and they bought a bike here at Jet City, that we did everything that we possibly could do, that we offered everything that we could possibly offer to make sure that we're safe. Motorcycle riding is inherently dangerous, and people get hurt and people die. But if we can help with resources to limit that, that makes me feel good.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. I say from my end, because I always see things obviously on the other side as well. And, they talk about cars with defensive driving, but with motorcyclists, you have to be even more defensive drivers. But a lot of times when we're having conversations after the fact, it's, for me, it's too late at that point.
Yeah.
It's too late at that point. So and just the devastation that it has to people and their family and their friends and their lives. Just to be able to help prevent that in some way. Yeah.
And again, maybe the people that go down were going to go down anyway, and there's a bigger picture, whatever, but we did our part, and again, the more people that we have out there that know CPR, that are riding in these groups, the more people that have, your basic first aid, the more people that are going and getting trained, because not only do we offer can we get you in touch with, getting your credential, but we have advanced rider training as well, and so, I just think all of that is very important for the safety of, again, our community. And, I don't think it's something where, a finger point, this is something that needs to be done, or, diligent riders do this. When you need training, when you're feeling less than optimum about whatever it is that you're doing. When you're feeling that way, reach out to us, and we might have an option for you to get some training to feel more confident about whatever it is that you're looking to do.
Yeah. And I can attest to that, you guys. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly why you connected me with Chuck. So that's exactly what happened. Someone asked just random personal things, but what is your current, I don't know if you can say this as a Harley GM, but what's your favorite Harley model right now? Is it like picking between favorite?
You know what? I'm from Southern California, and from my growth, we were all about Softails and Sportsters and stripping them down and making hardtails and all that kind of stuff, I'm more in that camp still, I like to get on, the road glides and the street glides, and they're fun to ride and all that, but generally for me, what a Harley-Davidson looks like is kind of a stripped down bobber version of a Softail. So
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
just real raw.
Yeah. So.
If you can, I guess if you could take your dream ride, like anywhere, I'm gonna say in the world, like where would you go? What would you ride?
I have one that's really, really on my list right now, and what I want to do is I want to do the Canadian border to the San Ysidro border. Okay. I just purchased a motorcycle for my son. He just got out of basic training with the Marine Corps, and he got stationed at Camp Pendleton. So what I'd really like to do is ride that bike down to him, go from border to border, or have him come and meet me and then us do it. That's a little sketchy. We've tried that, and the timeline isn't working out for us, but I really am interested in doing that. I think that would be a lot of fun.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll get to do that soon.
Yeah. No, I'm looking to do that in the next year.
Yeah. And so this will kind of be my last question.
Okay.
But when people think of Jet City, what do you want to come to their minds?
The community. I don't want you to feel like you have to buy something to come and experience the store or the people or what we're trying to build. This isn't a quid pro quo. You don't have to give me money to come enjoy yourself, Let us be the hub, That's what we really want. And come enjoy yourself and bring your people here, and let's grow from there. And then hopefully if you feel comfortable with who I am as a person, who we are as a staff and a store, then you'll start buying motorcycles from us. That's kind of what I want them to think. Community first.
Yeah. I get that sense already.
Thank you.
So,
I appreciate that.
Well, that's all the questions I have. But is there anything that you want to share, that I haven't covered or that we haven't talked about?
No, I think that I want to thank you for doing this. I think this is huge. I think that somebody needed to step up. It was something that I was thinking about, but I didn't think that it was appropriate for me and my position or any of my employees because we're too close. I think that we needed somebody who's willing to jump out here and have some neutrality and show some positives from all parts of our culture. And I appreciate what you're doing because I think it's going to make a big impact.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you. I mean, I will say we've been trying to get this podcast together for almost a year. So it's, it takes a long time to do a lot of things. So being able to have this and have support, and I feel like it gives us street cred, to be at a Harley-Davidson dealership.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
And when the time's right and you're going to do a female rider special, I've got 3 or 4 of them down there that would love to be involved with that.
Oh, I mean, the time is probably right now. But yes, we're definitely trying to focus more on women riders, but we're also just, trying to capture everything. So,
of course.
Yeah. So I think that'd be great. There's a lot of pink already, so I think it looks good on camera. We'll see.
When I took the sweatshirt home, so I've got my wife, my daughter, and my other daughter. They're all adults that are living at the house right now, and I had one pink sweatshirt. So, I don't know if they're rotating them or what happened there, but I've seen that 2 of the 3 wearing it already. So
nice.
It's definitely getting the thumbs up.
Well, we're going to have to get more sweatshirts. We have to get more sweatshirts. So
that wasn't a plug to get them. I was just telling you how cute they are.
Yeah, and they're really bright. I feel like they're good for riders too because they're like so bright, especially in the sun. Like they're high visibility. So
absolutely.
It's like a dual purpose.
A white helmet and a pink hoodie. You're definitely going to be seen. Not a problem.
Yeah. So Seattle's a sweatshirt culture. I feel like everyone's wearing hoodies. So yeah, well, we'll get more. So that'll be good. And a lot of pink. So yeah, well, I think that's all the questions I have.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.